And you know what time it is? It's time for KP's Video News. KP's Video News, y'all. KP's Video News, y'all. KP's Video News, y'all. Right.
That's right, it's KP's Video News. I'm coming at you with a real good episode here today. And I want you to, drink up this knowledge. Drink up this KP Video knowledge. Drink it up. Drink it up. Because this is some serious stuff that's going on right now. And it's connected to the 2020 election. And I notice there's been a lot of guys coming out the woodwork here. Kanye West, 50 Cent. The other guy that came out. Oh yeah, Ice Cube. All these guys, for some reason, all of a sudden decided they wanted to start trying to endorse Donald Trump for president in 2020. And so I've been doing a lot of research here. I've been trying to figure out, what's going on with these cats, man? Why are they trying to endorse Trump? What's the reason? What's the agenda? And I don't know what to really make of these so-called woke people that they just fell asleep at the wheel, man. I don't get it. What is it, man? What's the reason? What is the reason for the treason? And but first I'm gonna go through the situation, and I'm gonna break it down little by little. But first you got to get an idea of what's going on and who Trump is and what he represents to you. And starting off with this new book that just came out, a new book claims president didn't want black people to work on the Trump Tower. And former construction executive at the Trump Organization, Barbara Rest, claimed that Donald Trump showed prejudice against black people before he became president. Since leaving Trump's employ, Rez has criticized Trump. In 2016, Rez said she was supporting Democrat Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign. And in the book, Tower of Lies, What My 18 Years of Working with Donald Trump Reveals About Him, Rez describes incidents in which Trump exhibited racist behavior. An advanced copy of the book was given for review. And in one instance, Rez alleges that Trump became upset after seeing a black person working on one of his construction sites. Get him off there right now, Trump said. And I don't ever let that happen again. I don't want people to think that Trump Tower is being built by black people. According to Rez, bigotry and bias control Donald's view of the world, even the so-called positive stereotypes, which are just as damaging, like saying Japanese are smarter than Americans. The Japanese are people who he despises. And Trump also allegedly claimed that he did not want black kids sitting in the lobby where people come to buy $1 million apartments after seeing a black person applying for employment at a different property. And, Rez implied that Trump's fame has only exacerbated some of his negative character traits, and it's not hard to look at the trajectory of his entire life and spot an unmistakable pattern. Rez wrote, the bigger he got as a name, the smaller he got as a person. So you have to understand the stuff that this cat is capable of doing and what he's done. And hey, the dude is just worthless as far as I'm concerned. So I tried to make up a list of some of the stuff that he's done, and I ran out of paper. It's just like, and this is just a tip, just a tiny tip of the iceberg. Like I said, I'm coming to you with this knowledge today. Drink up some of this knowledge. And for his hate of blacks and Puerto Ricans, and the people in New York, they know all about this. Trump has been sued almost 100 times by blacks and Puerto Ricans for housing discrimination in New York. And for his little rat infested, you know, spots he owned, he started out, just inheriting a slumlord situation from his father. Was a slumlord in New York, and his father at one time told him, don't, whatever you do, stay on this side of town, and you can make a ton of money off of these blacks and Puerto Ricans over here. Don't go to Manhattan. But Trump, being the hard-headed sucker that he is, went to Manhattan anyway, regardless of what his father said. Anyway, still dealing with New York, he took out an attack ad over black teens that were accused of rape in Central Park. They called it Central Park 5. And later, these guys were released through the DNA, and one of the guy that actually did it admitted that he had did it, and they were freed, and they were given a $47 million settlement from the state of New York. And even though they were exonerated, freed, and be given a $47 million settlement, Trump still attacked them, and right to this day he has still never apologized for doing what he did. He took out a full-page ad and in the newspaper, and was trying to incite people to basically kill these kids, and they were juveniles at the time. So after taking office, he ordered Jeff Sessions to restore the mandatory minimum sentences for drugs, which basically affect minorities. The stuff that they was doing with the you get caught with 5 crack rocks, that means that's automatic 5 years, and all this stupid 25 to life sentences for crack offenses. When President Obama did what he could to try to reverse all of those laws, but the first thing he did was Jeff Sessions as Attorney General was to reverse all of those laws all the way back to the 1980s standards, and like I said before, which these things basically affect minorities, anything that affects minorities. So, on with the list. Trump endorsed white supremacists in Charlottesville after a person got murdered by car, and he endorsed them. Talking about fine people, So he ordered Jeff Sessions to get rid of the consent decree. As consent decree was put in place by the federal government, that meant they could go into any city that they discovered had a real bad police force, and those police forces would be held accountable under federal law. Under Trump, Jeff Sessions was ordered to get rid of the consent decree, so that no longer exists. The Trump administration has not filed not one consent decree. Even after the George Floyd situation, they didn't even file a consent decree against Minneapolis. They didn't file a consent decree against Louisville, Kentucky, on the Breonna Taylor situation. So it's like, wow, man, these guys, man. So after he refused. He never denounced the George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, or Ahmaud Arbery killings. Never denounced them. Not one time. Never. He would not publicly denounce right-wing white supremacist groups and militias. Never would. When asked this last time, he blew up and went off on the moderator at his little town hall that he wanted to have. He refused to help Puerto Rico after a big hurricane hit with any real substantial help, but he went all out to help Texas and Florida, which were Republican states. He didn't even know that Puerto Rico was part of the United States. So, the dude is just off the chain. He encouraged racist right-wing militia groups to harass minority voters at the polls. And so, like I said before, he would not publicly denounce the right-wing white supremacist groups like the Klan and the Proud Boys and any other militias out there, because that's his so-called base. Those are the people that will support him 100%. And Trump is so stupid he don't even realize that those militias out there are really trying to overthrow the government, and he's the one that's so stupid. All they got to do is just come and pat him on the back, talking about, you're doing a great job, you're doing a great job. He'll buy it every time, and he's a sucker. He becomes a sucker at that point, and he's helping them destroy the government, and don't even realize it, don't even know it. He's working for Putin, and he's working for the militias in the United States to destroy this country. And so, I mean, you know, it's really crazy. It's really crazy, man. So, like I said before, Bill Barr, since he took over for Jeff Sessions, has been instrumental in basically being like a parrot to Trump when he's supposed to be. The Attorney General is supposed to be neutral. He's not supposed to take either side. He's supposed to work for the people, but Barr has been following Trump around like, you know, like a butt kisser. And Trump, see, Barr, you got to watch him because, see, he was Attorney General before under the senior George Bush, and he was the one that petitioned Congress to increase the incarceration rates and open up the door for mass incarceration and the prison industries, basically slave labor. So Barr, you know, he can't be trusted. But, you know, I'm gonna get to the story here at hand. You know, cause, you know, I got a long list of people here. Steve Harvey, Stacey Dash, the Attorney General over there of Kentucky. Kanye West, Mike Tyson, Ice Cube, 50 Cent. All these guys are basically, these are house Negroes that are on the coon list as far as I'm concerned. These are house Negroes that are basically selling you down the river for what? What are they getting out of this? What are they getting out of it? Because they got to be getting something out of it. They, but then again, on the other hand, you know, house Negroes really don't need a reason. They really don't need a reason to sell you out. But anyway, Ice Cube, he got blasted by Roland Martin. He went on Roland Martin's show he got blasted over this platinum plan that Trump called himself having. And journalist Roland Martin confronted rap star. He confronted Ice Cube over his praise for Donald Trump's platinum plan for Black America and got mostly awkward silence when he asked how Trump's plan meets any of Ice Cube's demands. Ice Cube called himself having some contract with Black America. He authored some contract with Black America, and you got to watch and see, well, who helped you create this contract? Where did this contract all of a sudden come from, and why did it all of a sudden pop up right before Election Day? And why all of a sudden did Kanye West decide to, I'm going to vote for office. I'm going to run for office. right before election time, when he don't stand a snowball's chance in the microwave of winning the election, why would he want to run for office? He's trying to help Trump. Trying to take votes away from Biden, trying to take the black votes, the young black people's vote away from Biden and give it to Trump. And that's the same thing that's going to happen with this whole Ice Cube 50 Cent situation, because there's a lot of young people out there that basically can't think for themselves, that are going to follow these rappers and vote for Trump just because these rappers said so. And this is a foolishness, man. It's total foolishness. I just got through reading you the list of some of the stuff that Trump represents, all the hatred that he has for blacks and minorities. So, if this man has all this hate for blacks and minorities, why in the hell would these rappers and all of them endorse this racist, hate-filled bastard? Anyway, like I said, Ice Cube came up with this contract with Black America, and he appeared on Roland Martin's Unfiltered program, and where he discussed the Trump campaign's recent announcement of his involvement in Trump's plan, which Ice Cube praised as having made adjustments that favor his own plan. And he made a similar claim to Martin, saying that members of the Trump campaign saw that their plan was lacking and they wanted to implement some of the things from the contract with Black America into their plan. And Martin went on to specifically ask, what's in their plan that they actually took from yours? Because I've gone through their plan line by line, and to be perfectly honest with you, I don't see even what's in the plan they released that even mirrors what's in yours, period. So, and then Ice Cube responded, well, like I said, both plans between both parties are lacking. Ice Cube replied and told Martin, you have to look at the contract with Black America and see where the overlap is. And as it turns out, Martin had done that and said, but your contract lists these 13 different points here. And again, in their plan, what do you see in the Platinum plan, Trump's plan, that they released that mirrors anything that's in yours? And after a long pause and a look what appeared to be an off-camera computer screen, Q said, you know, you got, if I'm looking at it, agreeing with VC venture capital's money to black investment companies up to $40 billion. Trump's plan does include a line that references up to $40 billion in government funding that it claims will stimulate black-owned businesses, but it does not explain how those funds would be directed. After a full 10 seconds of silence, as Cube stared off camera, Martin cut in to say, you see, a lot of people have been talking about this $500 billion that's going to be, that's not going to black people. In fact, that's actually the infrastructure funding program. That's not actually $500 billion going to black people. They say, how many billions is going to, is the other one given to black people? Cube interrupted. And Martin said, no. What I'm saying is, that's not even, they list the thing under black economic empowerment and access to capital. It says seek infrastructure funding that will lead to widespread growth in the annual $500 billion federal contracting opportunities. And that line right there is not for black people. That's federal contracting opportunities for everybody. So that's not, they're not trying to make it sound like, oh, $500 black people. Is not. And that's the actual annual program for everybody, Martin explained. Elsewhere in the interview, Martin asked, who specifically did Ice Cube talk to about the Platinum plan, and who is they? Was it Donald Trump? Was it his campaign team? Was it officials in the White House? Ice Cube explained, I've never met Donald Trump a day in my life, and I've never been to the White House, so it's people on his campaign. This chick who put out the tweet, it wasn't her. I never met her either. I don't know who she is. He was referring to Trump campaign senior advisor Katrina Pearson, who first made Cube's involvement public in a tweet Wednesday. And Martin asked, do you believe that the Trump campaign greatly overstated your involvement for the purpose of them being able to say, we have attached ourselves to Ice Cube? Did you believe that you were used physically for their purpose, or opposed to as opposed to really what happened? And Cube replied, look, I knew whoever I engaged with would use that politically. I don't care about that part. The part I care about is getting something done. And so Cube took questions from Alicia Garza for a good 15 minutes, during which she and Martin grilled him about the legislation and activism around the issues raised in the contract with Black America. So, you know, he couldn't answer any of those questions. And I'm going to try to put a link on here so you can go watch the video yourself, and you can figure it out for yourself. You know, so like I said, that's Ice Cube. That's taking care of Ice Cube. On to the next one, on to Kanye West. And so Trump, this is the statement that Trump made. Shouldn't be hard for Kanye West to take away votes from Biden. These are his exact words. These are his exact words. I'm not making this up. These are his words. So, you know, this stuff, man, you gotta really pay attention. You have to pay attention. So Trump stated, on Saturday, confidence that rapper Kanye West, who recently announced, that he planned to launch a late bid for the White House, could steal votes from Trump's presumptive Democratic opponent in November and former Vice President Joe Biden. So that shouldn't be hard, Trump tweeted, referring to West taking votes away from Biden. Corrupt Joe has done nothing good for black people. And so Trump campaign advisor Kanye could be trying to siphon black votes away from Biden. And West in the past has been a big Trump supporter, meeting with the president multiple times and often wearing Trump Make America Dumb Again hat. And however, the last time when he went to the White House, hugging on Trump like, oh, Trump is my white daddy. However, when announcing his presidential bid, West stated that he's taking the red hat off and that Trump no longer has his support, which was a complete lie. It looks like one big mess to me, West said. One of the main reasons I wore the red hat as a protest to the segregation of votes in the black community. Also, other than the fact that I like Trump hotels and the saxophones in the lobby. When asked potentially splitting the Democratic vote, West replied that such a suggestion was a form of racism and white supremacy and white control to say that all black people need to vote Democratic, and to assume that me running is splitting the vote. Trump appeared to be unfazed by the news during the interview this week with Fox News. He's also going to be for us. He is always going to be for us, and wife Kim Kardashian is always going to be for us. Trump told Hannity that Kanye and Kim are always going to be for him. He's a very good boy. He is a person that I get along with very well. At the end, I think he would support us over anyone else. We have to stop the radical left from taking over the country. This is what Trump is saying. It's unclear what West's strategy will be, even if he will actually run. Well, you already know he's running. And West argued in his Forbes interview that he should be allowed more time to file because of the coronavirus pandemic. So it was a good thing that he was only able to get his name on a handful of ballots. The bad part is that handful of ballots that Kanye West was able to get his hands on are basically in those so-called toss-up states. Florida, South Carolina, those toss-up states. And if he can steal some votes away from Biden by using the uneducated youth that follow him to vote for him, then therefore he would accomplish what they wanted him to do. So like I said before, why would these rappers endorse Trump and sell out black America to endorse Trump? What's the reason? What would be the reason for them to do this? And so 50 Cent basically came out with the truth why he's doing it. Said he endorses Trump for 2020 election after seeing Biden's tax plans against the rich. So 50 Cent isn't a fan of Democratic presidential Joe Biden's tax plan, so he's siding with Trump with the Trump re-election program. On Monday, the rapper posted a shot of a TV screen that showed the top tax rates in California, New Jersey, New York, and for Americans earning more than $400,000 a year, according to the tax plan proposed by Biden's administration. Yep. So, it's so get 50 Cent, the so-called get rich or die trying artist, has rejected supporting Trump's presidential campaign in the past, and he told James Corden on his late night show last year that he turned down Trump's $500,000 offer to come to his 2016 inauguration, saying all money's not good money. But in an interview in July, he saluted the president's unapologetic demeanor and cited him as the reason he chose to follow his blueprint. While many of 50 Cent's fans criticized his stance on the issue and prioritizing it over racial justice for black Americans, conservative political commentator Tommy Lauren welcomed him with open arms. Welcome to the fold, oh House Negro. Welcome to the Trump train, House Negro. House Negro 50 Cent. So, you know, it's just like these guys, man. Like he said, the reason why he's doing it is because he doesn't want Biden to get in office, because Biden has a plan to increase taxes on anybody that makes over $400,000. Listen to what I'm saying. He's not going to raise taxes on the basic working class people. I'm talking about people, those people that $400,000 or more. They can afford to pay more taxes. The people that have $400,000 or more. So I mean, like I said before, you got a slew of these so-called celebrities that are endorsing Trump. You know, Stacey Dash, Ice Cube, Mike Tyson. You know, these cats, man. Steve Harvey, man. You know, I'll never participate or watch any of his stuff. I refuse to even listen to Steve Harvey's radio show anymore. He's on the coon list, and I don't have nothing to do with him anymore. The black people are literally voting like their lives depend on it. This is on to the next story. This, like I said, drink up this knowledge, drink it up. So black people are literally voting like their lives depending on it. That's right, black folks. Get out there and contributing to the record early vote. It's a record early vote that's going on right now. And black people are the number one people that are out there voting, and I'm so happy and proud of that. So states across the U.S. have seen record early voting this year, and black voters have been one significant factor in the string of broken records. More than 28 million people have already voted, but Democrats dominating in mail and early in-person voting in the states that represent partisan affiliation, as Republicans follow Donald Trump's ranting and wait for election day. Black voters in this country disproportionately face long voting lines and disproportionately have their mail-in ballots rejected. With that choice, many black voters are choosing the lines, giving up hours or even a full day out of their lives to be sure that this vote counts. The reasons are so powerful. I have 3 black sons. A federal worker who waited in line for 10 hours in Georgia said, I was waiting for this day. North Carolina healthcare manager, worker Connie Neal told the Post, we need change. We need a new president. And as soon as I could do my part, why put it off? If you haven't voted, get out there and vote, people. You got to vote early. Vote now. There's no group of Americans who are more vested in this democratic experiment historically than black people in the United States of America. Democratic pollster Cornell Belcher said, black people are literally voting like their lives depend on it. And they are voting against Trump's targeting of Black Lives Matter protesters and the Justice Department backing off from investigating police departments with patterns of abuse. That's what I was talking about before with those consent decrees. They backed off. They're not even filing no consent decrees against these police departments that have patterns of abuse. They're voting against an incumbent who called violent white supremacists very fine people, one who rose in politics by claiming that then Barack Obama was born in Kenya, spent 4 years trying to dismantle Obama's legacy policy by policy, then turned around and tried a version of the same birther argument on Senator Kamala Harris, the Democratic vice presidential nominee this year, one who specializes in personal insults but saves many of his most vicious and demeaning insults for black lawmakers and activists. In response, black voters are bringing chairs and food to wait in line. They're there to do whatever it takes. Many remember the brutality of the fight for the right to vote in the 20th century, not so very long ago, in the 60s and 50s and the 60s and the 40s, as well as understanding the voter suppression they now face that keeps them in those long lines, lest their mail-in votes would be rejected. It should not be this way. Basic democracy should not rely on the outsized efforts of a group of people trying to participate in a government that has been repeatedly targeted a vulnerable group in the midst of a pandemic. It is wrong that this is what it takes, and heroic that so many voters are doing what it takes despite being in full knowledge of how wrong it is and in full knowledge that the pandemic is killing people on a daily basis, and black people are stepping up to the plate voting, even if it means they have to wait in line 10, 12 hours if they have to. Handle your business, people. Handle your business, and don't be fooled by these coons, man. Don't be fooled by them. You know, I'm talking about Kanye West, Ice Cube, and 50 Cent. Young people, don't be fooled. Don't follow these ignorant rappers that have sold out for money. Don't fall for it. They have a reason, a financial reason for following Trump. It's a financial reason they're following him. The financial reason why they jumping on the Trump wagon. It's a financial reason that you will not benefit from because you're poor. As far as those standards go, if you're not making over $400,000, the Biden plan tax increase doesn't affect you. So why would you sacrifice your vote and revoke this racist Trump and put this racist Trump back in office that doesn't give a damn whether you live or die? All of his policies have shown, everything that he's done, his entire life has shown that he has absolutely positively no respect for black people or any other minorities in this country, or for that matter, poor whites that don't have any money, that can't afford to go to his country clubs. He doesn't like you. He doesn't care about you. He only cares about himself. So therefore, he's using Kanye West, using Ice Cube, and using 50 Cent, and using Mike Tyson, and using Steve Harvey, and using Stacey Dash, and using the black attorney general of Kentucky to influence black people that, well, Trump's, he's okay. He's okay. No, he's not. He's not okay. In fact, the man could possibly be a psychopath. So don't fall for the okie doke. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. If you're gonna drink anything, drink some of this knowledge. That's what I'm talking about.
KPVIDEONEWS, y'all.